My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to the Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for the fearless Dave Dubow. And if you've ever been curious how a 26-year-old transformed a sauerkraut factory into a booming industrial space post-COVID, my guest today, Josh Rosenberg from Rochester, New York, from residential flips to industrial success, he's here to share his unique journey. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
So I love sauerkraut. That's like, it's probably my heritage, but why, how did that happen? Let's dive into that because I'm sure people are interested. How did that come to be?
Well, first, it's funny you say you love it because I had 4 people walk through today and every single room said they hate it.
Ah, man, they're not Ukrainian like me. That's that. I pretty much like, give me a head of cabbage and I'll show you sauerkraut in like four weeks.
Yes, I came across the property sat on the market for 2 years. It's a 132,000 square foot industrial park.
Oh, big.
Originally, it was a sauerkraut factory. Then the tree nursery took it over, and the owners were great to work with, but the property was in disrepair.
Yeah.
And I just found myself in a nice little tertiary market where once I closed on it, businesses started to flood in.
So you own that property now. You bought it, put money down on it, and now you're leasing it out.
Yes, I bought it. We closed in August of 2023.
Yeah.
It was an owner finance deal. The owners
Vendor take
held
back
half.
or something.
Yep, they held half the mortgage. I raised the other half plus, roof repairs, and here we are.
Yeah, it's usually roof repairs. And the thing with industrial is that there's not a lot of people complaining about the exterior maintenance and the windows and like the grass cutting and stuff like that. So they can really become disrepaired if the owner is like more interested in what's happening inside than what's the building maintenance. You know what I mean? So okay, so let's talk about a little bit more on the residential flip side. How'd you get started in real estate? What was your first kind of jump in, or what was your first kind of entry into the business of real estate?
I got introduced through my dad. My dad, he was a contractor, and he bought rentals. I think he had about 9 rentals, and he passed when I was 8. And then my mom took over the houses. My mom would, sell them through the years. She still has 2 of them. But just watching as I grew up, watching her manage them, the bug bit me early, definitely.
Yeah, there seems to be a common theme of like if your parents had some, then you'll look at getting some because I think it's about the exposure to it that gets people interested. So what do you like most about the real estate strategy that you're doing these days?
What I love about industrial is kind of what you said. When you move someone into a space, that is their space. The only thing I'm responsible for is the roof. And I really, really enjoy working with businesses rather than residential tenants. I started off residential, and as about a year ago, we stopped buying the residential, only buying industrial now.
Yeah. So what maybe isn't so great about what you're doing these days?
In terms of industrial, I would say the biggest downside is just the capital you need. You don't, like say you redo a residential roof and it's $10,000. There's very little $10,000 roofs in industrial.
And it's probably like fired on flat roofing too, or a gravel repair with tar and stuff like that. So how much did the roof cost on that building that you purchased?
So far in the last 3 months, he spent about $200,000 with to get it completely done, it'll be another 200,000.
And in proportion to the cost of the building, what percentage would you say that is?
That's when we're all said and done, it's gonna be about 50% of what I paid for the building.
Yeah. And I think the roof is one of the most important parts of the industrial because you got to protect the stuff inside. If you can't protect the clients and the tenants, then it's like an apartment building. Like those roofs are very expensive, 50K, 100K just for like a 3-story walk up that's maybe a 30-unit building. You can imagine what it can cost with all the square footage you have, how much of that roof is exposed all the time. So have there been any sort of major challenges you've had to overcome in real estate so far?
The major challenge was what most people went through during COVID. I would say at the worst, 60% of my 60 units weren't paying. Especially here in New York State, it was kind of encouraged not to pay your rent.
Yeah, I saw that in the social media and the news. It was like some states were like hit harder than others because I guess it depends on which side, what color, you are. Like I think New York State's very. I think it's a blue democratic state. Very much, and so a lot about. And this is just what I'm garnering from the news as a Canadian looking across the border and watching Fox or CNBC or whatever. Um, the Democrats seem to be more about social services than the Republicans. So Republican states probably weren't as lenient. And then you've got these blue states where people could, um, I guess you can't really choose not to pay your rent, but it turned out that was one of the things because there was what was it? You couldn't evict people, I think.
Yeah, for quite some time, depending on what city you were in as well.
Hmm. So how did you overcome that particular situation?
That was almost a waiting game. It put me in a weird spot because I had to evict these tenants before I could sell these houses.
Mm,
So it was up until the last 12 months where I was able to get everyone out, sell the houses that need to be sold. Because it was my fault that I bought in some of these low income areas. So I should have never been operating in.
yeah.
And overcoming it was switching to industrial and dealing with businesses rather than individuals.
Yeah, but maybe better tenants, people with. I mean, it's just that it could just be that. I mean, it's the jury's still out. You could have some of the same challenges. You never know, but it's tenants and toilets, right? That's the business. So, when it comes to real estate, what do you think your secret sauce is? What comes easy to you that other people might find difficult to do?
My secret sauce is definitely I'm a blue collar guy by trade. I'm a carpenter.
Mm,
That's helped me with raising money as well as fixing the houses. I think I have a niche because, like, say I go work on someone's house, and if it's a nice house, that homeowner has money, they could see how hard I work, and then they'll ask me about the logo on the back of my truck, and I go, "Oh yeah, I'm not really a carpenter. I'm a real estate investor," and
yeah.
that's why I've raised 90% of my money.
Yeah, just being in proximity to the business and getting that conversation started. So, where do you want to go in the next 12 months? What sort of future goals and aspirations do you have for your real estate business?
The next 12 months, I would like to fully stabilize the residential portfolio, which is around
Mm,
50 units. And
okay,
then we have about 175,000 square feet of industrial space right now. The next 12 months, I'd like to double the industrial space.
nice, nice. So, with all you've accomplished so far in your real estate with the industrial and the challenges with your residential portfolio, what would you say your biggest obstacle is these days?
Biggest obstacle is always raising money
Mm,
because one larger deal, you could wipe out all your available funds.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. So what are you doing these days to fund your deals, like the next one or the next one after that?
All I go on, I would say 2 to 3 dinners a week, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just with investors. And that investors could be a mailman. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
you
who
never know, right?
what the occupation is exactly. And it's just for me, it's just about going on these dinners, building the rapport, and explaining to people that I'm willing to work as hard as it is to make sure you get your money back and to make sure I make money.
So what would you say, apart from the dinners, what's one of the strategies that you're using right now to get access to money to fund your deals?
That would be the back to the blue collar is whenever I'm working at someone's house, telling them what I do. I go to a
Mhm.
lot of meetups. I spend a fair amount of time in New York City. That's one of my next goals is breaking into the New York City private equity money. If you get matched up with the right company or right individual, you could be very, very well funded.
Okay, so as far as your existing contacts that you already have, what are you doing right now to kind of raise money from the existing connections?
What we've been doing is I've really just been rolling over their money. So
Mhm.
whenever I refinance and give them back their money and their interest, they go, oh, I'll do it again. So it's kind of it's not super labor intensive to keep that money going because they get
Mhm.
paid back. They know I'm good for it and they want to keep rolling it over.
Yeah, it's all about making sure that you're a good steward of the money. So, how about expanding your network? You said you're going to some networking events. What else are you doing to kind of expand your network of prospective investors for your deals?
That would go to social media. I'm not the greatest with social
Mm,
media, but even putting a couple posts on Facebook a week or whatever it is, you never know who's going to share it and
yeah.
which of their followers will see it.
So with the social media, what have you found to be the most effective way to keep in touch with these different prospects that you're getting from, say, the networking or the social media campaign that you're running?
I would say just posting the deals that I'm doing.
Like
Um,
posting what you're actively doing.
yeah, all even if I get a larger tenant and posting that and uh, any renovations we have going on. Like I said, I'm not the greatest at it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I need to dive into more.
Mm-hmm. So with the networking events or when you like connect with someone through the logo on the car, what's for me, I always have challenges with the follow-up. What's something that either you're doing or something you have in place to kind of make sure that you keep these connections alive?
Yeah, that that's the dinners. I would say I'm very good at reaching out, even if it's once a month and saying, "Hey, you want to go get a drink or you want to go get a dinner?"
Mm,
Um, it is I enjoy hanging out with these people,
yeah.
so it's really easy.
So you make it a point to, I guess, wine and dine your prospects.
Yeah, and definitely, and also they're happy to go out because they're making money off me. So
Yeah, right. So you've got like an in on that, and you also get to I guess expense some meals here and there, right?
yeah, that
Now, yeah, are you find the deal and then the money, or do you prefer to have your capital lined up and then go looking for deals?
I prefer. I think a combination of both. I
Mm.
prefer to always be raising money, and I don't like when someone will find a deal and then go scrounging around for money. I would rather have.
I like the way you said that,
Yeah.
scrounging around. It could feel like that too, there's a lot of people that go deal first.
And it's I've been in those situations and it's just 10 times more stressful. I'd rather have a heavy Rolodex of guys that are willing to invest in whatever I think is a good deal.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're at these dinners or when you're presenting to a possible investor, how do you go about doing that?
I've never hard pitched anybody.
Mm,
Uh, Most of it is just telling them my backstory. And like I said, it's really nice when I could work at someone's house, they see how I work, and then
hmm.
they ask me what I really do. And it's I've done enough deals now where I don't really have to, I'm always proving myself, but I don't have to like beg.
Mm. You feel like the power is shifted a little bit now that you've got some experience under your belt in the real estate game.
Definitely. And that the best thing about raising money is you borrow from someone, you pay them back, and then they tell their friends, and it's just a constant referral.
Yeah, because everybody wants to make money, right? They want to find that. It's kind of like horse betting, right? There's so many investors in the race, and like, okay, who's actually winning? Who's actually paying the odds that they're going to win? Because things happen, but at the
hmm
end of the day, it's like, are you the what is it, the prize pony, or what do they call it? You know what I'm saying? The
I,
with the one in the race, the inside edge. People always want to be betting on that. The the horse that's going to win the race. And so if you can prove that, they're going to keep putting their money down to double it up, or make 10% on their money or whatever it may be. So for people to invest significant amounts of money with you, they need to know you, they need to like you, and ultimately end up trusting you. What are you doing for those sorts of things in your business these days?
As far as people trusting me,
Yeah, well, like letting people know about you and what you're doing, and then ultimately like getting them to like you, and ultimately then that should lead to some sort of trust building. But what are you working on, or what are you doing in your business to kind of build those different things in your business?
yeah, that would really that's all referral based now.
So doing good work.
Yeah, doing good work and making sure that everyone gets paid back. I think it helps a lot when I could go to someone and say, "Hey, I have this much equity. Even if everything goes sideways, I could sell stuff off to pay you back." Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I personally guarantee every loan I have.
Mm. So you're
And
willing to put it on the line.
I'm definitely willing to put it online because I don't get emotional about these deals. I get excited and I'm real happy to do them, but I don't. Another deal will always come.
Yeah, they're like buses. There's another one coming every 10 minutes or so, depending on
Yeah,
the route. So, um, did you think you'd be doing real estate when you were younger? Do you think you'd be doing what you're doing now?
definitely. I mean, I prob when I was probably 12 years old when I knew that I was going to do this. I always look at it like it's such a cheat code because I never had to go soul searching for what I was going to do for a living. I always knew
Mm.
what I was going to do.
Yeah, you were determined right from the get-go. So, um, as far as the capital that you're looking for, um, the money that you're using, is it more short-term money, like 6 months, 8 months, or are a lot of your investors longer term, like they want to partner with you for like 3, 5 years, 10 years? What does that look like so far?
It's a little bit of both. I don't do any unless it's a real small loan amount. I don't do any 6 to 8 months. Um, I would say my shortest on any considerable amount of money is about a year and a half. And then
Mm,
I do have some guys though that say, "Hey, this is my retirement, so I want you to pay me for the next 10 years."
mm.
Everything I do is interest only, so it's easy to calculate. And I tell guys, "Hey, if something pops up and you want me to pay you off earlier, I can. It's just about going to the bank and refinancing."
Hmm. So with the investors, you had mentioned for people to, to be any amount that you consider significant in your business for what you're raising capital for, what would you consider, um, like a significant amount?
I would say significant in the case of I would say anything over $100,000.
That's where it starts to
Obviously,
get interesting for you.
yeah, obviously anything under that is still I still treat every dollar the same, but
Mm.
the more money involved, the more creative you could get, and the more collateral I could put up.
So with your portfolio, when you were dealing with the COVID evictions and the rents, was that your capital, or was that investors' capital that were in those deals as well?
It was a mix of both. I
Mm.
don't necessarily have any partners, but I have a lot of lenders in the form of mortgages. So
Mm.
those, through those times of 60% of my people not paying, everyone still got paid back.
You just made sure, because that's the one thing that I've seen, is that you have an active business and a wealth generating business. And a lot of times people get stuck with one or the other. They're either like a full-time contractor, carpenter, and they're doing the same year over and over again. They're not like making any extra money. They're not investing anything. They're just like, well, I made 100K and next year I'm going to make 110. And
Mm.
maybe in 5 or 10 years, I'll break 200 in my contracting business. Awesome. Cool. And then there's the investor who's like, I have to live off all of my cash flow. And if I don't keep doing deals, I'm not going to survive. But do you think you could have survived that 6 month period there in COVID had you not had another? Because how did you balance the books when it came down to missed rents like that? Like that's a lot of missed rent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still backlogged today. I think I'll be backlogged for another year.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely making great headway on it. But I've never took any of my active income and put it into the houses. It was just about refinancing certain houses and selling off uh, a certain amount of equity. So I had a I had enough equity to ride it out.
Yeah, because I was talking, I was talking with the wifey, and we were talking about the roof on one of the rentals, and it was like, let's say that I'm making $400 a month cash flow. Um, if we have to fix this roof, there's 4 grand. That's 10 months.
Mhm.
Easily, it can wipe out cash flow in these like expenses. And if they're not paying any rent, if you're expected to get $1,000 a month or whatever, and your cash flow is only like $200, like you're having to put in 800, 6 months later, $3,600 per property. It can really add up. And um, it's times like that that you definitely want to have like some diversity in your income stream. So if people want to invest with you, they want to reach out, they want to find out more about your business, what should they do? How do they find you?
The best way to find me is on my website. It's rosierealestateco.com. Rosie spelled Rosey.
Mm-hmm.
And then another great way is always on Instagram, which is at @jrosenberg_.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by and letting people know that there's more to real estate than just houses. There's also the industrial side and the commercial side. So I really appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me on. This was great.
Yeah, no problem. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.